when I was in Oklahoma, we met this couple. They were early 30s, maybe late 20s, and they were actually indigent before the tornado ever hit.
Nice.
And they both lived on disability checks. She had, you could tell, some kind of a mental, like developmental type thing, and he was more a physical disability. And Mike weighed probably 235 pounds, mostly muscle. He weighed maybe 90 pounds wet. And I say this because this plays into what happened. But they were living in the second floor of a 2-story apartment building when the tornado hit in Sulphur, Oklahoma. And this tornado went right through downtown Sulphur. And Sulphur is the headquarters of the Choctaw Indian Nation, which is also the most Christian Indian nation in America. None of the Choctaw buildings were hit. Their maintenance yards were untouched. None of their equipment was damaged. None of their trucks were damaged. And yet every building that was surrounded their buildings was flattened.
Whoa.
And so that was kind of one miracle. Well, right when you got to the north edge of where their buildings was, right across the street from the maintenance building and maintenance yard for the Choctaw Nation was their apartment building. The roof was not ripped off the building. It was collapsed into the building, into their apartment and the other apartments on the second floor. And as it approached, they managed to get to the front door of the building, and literally as they opened the door, they could see the tornado just a couple blocks away. For them to get to safety, they had to run across one block, then go down another city block, cross another road, and get to the Indian Casino parking garage, which that casino was only a couple years old, and get in there for safety. So they took off running, literally staring at this tornado the whole time. As they got to the last road that they had to cross in order to get to the casino, Mike had his wife Shelly by the hand. All of a sudden felt his arm go backwards and up.
Whoa.
And turned to look, and her feet were literally in the air. The tornado was trying to suck her in.
Whoa.
Yeah,
He held on for dear life.
he held on for dear life, and being a big boy, he yanked her to the ground, he said, and took off running as fast as he could run and get her into that garage.
My goodness.
The day after the tornado, the shelter there was set up at a Baptist church on the west side of Sulphur that had gotten missed, thank heavens. And the very next day, they got saved. So they definitely had a very traumatic experience. Well, one of the things that was really neat was that after they got saved that day, they went back over their apartment when it was finally cleared for them to go back, and went looking for their cell phones, and also went looking for their wallets, as well as their pets, which they only found one of their 3 cats. But even then, they knew they couldn't take it to the shelter, and they ended up having to just let it loose. But they found both cell phones. They found her wallet, but did not find Mike's wallet. And he was kind of bummed about that, but he had told us at the time that he didn't really have anything other than his ID in the wallet, so it wasn't like a big loss. And that first day that we met him, which was the day after they got saved, we got into town, and Mike had told us, he said, we're getting a little worried because FEMA's telling us they're going to settle us in a town that the nearest store is like 20 miles away, and he said, we don't own a car. We can't afford a car. Well, the very next day, a guy from the casino called Mike, or tracked him down at the shelter, and says, we have a lady here and she's got your wallet. This casino employee got him hooked up over at the shelter.
Where did they find it?
And she found the wallet on the north end of Sulphur, a good half mile to 3/4 mile from where their apartment was, laying in the middle of an intersection.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And so she gave Mike the wallet, and he didn't really even just look at it, and he just, thanked her and everything, and she went on her way. And only after she had left, he all of a sudden realized, my wallet feels kind of fat. He opened up the wallet. There was enough cash in there, not only for them to go buy a car, but also to pay for a year's worth of insurance.
Whoa.
Somehow this lady and her husband figured out, because he only had an ID in his wallet, that these people were probably indigent and had left a ton of hundreds in his wallet.
Whoa. That is fun.
Tell him that last piece about the chocolate came by with the.
Yeah, so
This is
about midweek that we were there, and Mike and Shelly, we made a point of visiting them every day. We just absolutely fell in love with this couple. And we pull up to the shelter one morning, and Mike comes running out, and he's waving his hands above his head. He's like, guys, I got to tell you my prayer story. Right. What's up, Mike? He says, last night, he says, they got Mercy Chefs here and they have good food, but it's kind of foo-foo food. Then he says, we're meat and potatoes people. Last night, I prayed to God for just a simple cheeseburger. And not even a half an hour later, a guy shows up in a pickup truck with a whole bed full of fresh, hot cheeseburgers. He held up 3 fingers and says, I ate 3 of them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they literally were multiple miracles in just people. It was just amazing.
Good example of how God can take something the enemy meant for so bad and evil and destruction, and how God can just take something like that and turn it around to something so good.